Hello there, welcome to ITV News Meridian.
Tonight's headlines in the Thames Valley. One of the worst cases of illegal dog breeding RSPCA officers have ever seen. 24 animals kept in squalor in Buckinghamshire. We meet some who thankfully are now rehomed and happy.
Braving the shave, the schoolboys from Berkshire supporting their friend who has a rare type of cancer.
I watched them do it, they were all nervous as well, but they persevered through it. At the end, everyone pretty much had no hair.
We must all cross the road with the lollipop lady, lollipop lady.
Also on the programme, we mark 70 years of school crossing patrols. We have a lot to thank them for, but how has the role of lollipop men and women changed?
And we meet another of our Pride of Britain Fundraiser of the Year finalists, Karen from Thatcham, who recruited her very own band of Calendar Girls. Good evening. The RSPCA in Buckinghamshire says an illegal dog breeding case where a man and a woman kept 24 dogs in squalid conditions is one of the worst they have ever come across.
The bull breed dogs were found at a house in kennels in Aylesbury. They'd been subjected to intensive breeding and repeated caesarean sections. 2 of them died, but the surviving dogs have now been rehomed. Natalie Verney reports from the RSPCA centre, which helped care for them.
It's hard to imagine now, but this lovely dog is one of 24 who were found in filthy conditions in a house in Aylesbury. Buckinghamshire Council started investigating when they received calls from worried members of the public. Once inside, they found the dogs, 2 of which were pregnant, and it became clear that it was being treated as an illegal breeding site.
They found the dogs were living in really horrendous conditions where there were sort of maggots, faeces, urine. The dogs were living in those conditions, so they had multiple sort of sores on them that were being caused by that. There were sort of multiple pregnancies that were being forced on the dogs, and sort of all the problems that would cause later on.
Well, the dogs were swiftly removed, and after thorough investigations, Buckinghamshire Council and the RSPCA both prosecuted. Last week, a man from Aylesbury and a woman from Chesham pleaded guilty to a number of offences under the Animal Welfare Act, which included unlicensed breeding and causing unnecessary suffering to an animal. Hamad Javed of Charmfield Road in Aylesbury was sentenced to 20 months in prison, and Louise Lane from Upland Avenue in Chesham received a 6-month suspended sentence and community service. Now, happily, all the dogs have now been rehomed. Lauren is with me now. Lauren, you were here when some of them came here to start with, weren't you? What were they like when they arrived?
So some of them that came in had some bite wounds on them, and one of the ones we had in particular was very obese. But otherwise, in terms of spending time with us, they absolutely loved spending time with us. Very friendly, very loving dogs.
And you've actually decided to rehome one of them yourselves. Lovely Millie down here lying in the sun.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to do that?
It wasn't intentional. I hand-reared her from when she was a few days old. She just became part of the family. I fell in love with her, my partner did, my whole family did, and we just decided we couldn't let anyone else have her, so she stayed with us.
She is a lovely dog.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, illegal breeding can't take place unless people are willing to buy the dogs off of them. But obviously, it can be difficult to work out who's legitimate and who isn't. But there are some signs you can look out for.
Well, the RSPCA would definitely advise people against responding to free ads in the local paper, because they're normally unlicensed breeders trying to make a quick profit. You don't know what sort of condition the animals are going to be in, so our advice would be to go in the first instance probably to a local rescue centre. You know what you're going to be getting there, you're going to be able to see the dog, they're going to be able to match it to you exactly. Or alternatively go to a registered breeder.
If you're at all concerned that unlicensed breeding is taking place, you can report it to your local council. Natalie Verney, ITV News, Wadston.
In other news, a court has heard a man who breached the grounds of Windsor Castle armed with a crossbow admitted to being on a mission to kill the then Queen. Jaswant Singh Chail, who's 21, was arrested in the grounds of the castle on Christmas Day 2021. He pleaded guilty to an offence under the Treason Act and making a threat to kill. A sentencing hearing today heard Chail showed symptoms of psychosis. The hearing continues.
A CCTV image has been released of a man detectives want to speak to as part of an investigation into 2 rapes in Oxford. Police say this man may have important information about 2 assaults in the Florence Park area. They happened on the 18th of September and the 16th of November last year. Officers want anyone who recognises this man to get in contact.
A man's been jailed after he was found with nearly £1 million worth of cocaine on the M40 near Bicester. Mark Haddy was stopped by police for speeding and driving dangerously. Officers then found the cocaine in a shopping bag in the front of his car. He was sentenced to 7.5 years behind bars at Oxford Crown Court.
12 primary school boys from Berkshire have shaved their heads in solidarity with their friend who has a rare type of bone cancer. 9-year-old Harry Mills was diagnosed in July and he now faces 18 rounds of chemotherapy.
Well, he was dreading losing his hair, so his friends came together to shave off theirs. Harry's family have described it as a day of mixed emotions, but one to remember. Nikki Woodcock went to meet them.
Harry! 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 Smiles, laughter and cheers as Harry braves the shave with his dad by his side. Harry's crew, as he calls them, watch on, anxiously awaiting their turn in the chair.
At the end there was like a mirror and I could see it and I was like, oh my God, I look 10 times more different. And then after that everyone else did it, I watched them do it, they were all nervous as well. But then at the end they persevered through it and then at the end everyone pretty much had no hair.
I said to the boys that it means so much to us and to Harry, the fact that they're doing this for him, because, you know, people do stare at kids with no hair. I mean, that's something personal to Harry, that he knows he's got some really good mates that are right by his side throughout this for him.
It was a touching moment for the family after months of hardship. It began in April when Harry was playing football and his leg started to hurt. Later on, it became swollen, causing him to limp.
I rang up the knee surgeon that had done my knee earlier in the year. He phoned us that night and said, I've seen a crack on at the bone. Okay, he's got a broken leg. And he goes, no, there's a tumour. He thinks a tumour's burst out of the bone. They showed us the scans and it was like a sea of white on his femur. And the x-ray, you see the mottled bone. So he said it's highly likely to be cancer.
Doctors confirmed that it was a tumour in Harry's leg called undifferentiated pleomorphic sarcoma, which accounts for less than 1% of all cancers. A gruelling treatment plan of 18 sessions of chemotherapy have been planned out, as well as several operations. But well wishes from friends, family and a few celebrities keep him smiling.
Hey Harry, it's Harry. Great name. I'm sorry you've not been very well, but I hear you're being super brave.
I'm wishing you all the best of luck. I'm saying prayers for you. I'm pushing good energy, positive energy your way. Good luck. Stick with it. You got this.
The shave has so far raised more than £25,000 for the charity Young Lives vs Cancer, which supports families affected by the disease.
I'm so proud of all those boys. I mean, I couldn't do it. I mean, I couldn't shave my hair, but they have, and I'm just honestly in complete awe with all of them.
Harry's been promised a trip away once his treatment is over, something to look forward to as he braces himself for the months ahead. But he knows however tough the journey will be, he's got the full support of his family and his amazing friends. Nikki Woodcock, ITV News, Charville.
And we do, of course, wish Harry and his family all the very best with his ongoing treatment. But how great are his mates?
That would make a real difference at 9 years of age, wouldn't it? And Harry, you've got a lovely smile.
Yeah, just brilliant. Well done to everybody involved.
Well, you are watching ITV News Meridian in the Thames Valley. Coming up.
Morning, morning, morning.
Celebrating 70 years of lollipop men and women, the parents in Brighton who say their job has never been more vital.
But away from the hustle and bustle of the busy streets, I've come to an island oasis that's been created in Winchester. Find out why a little later.
Well, for more from us, of course, you can go online, itv.com/Meridian. 0808 10 10 095 is our number. And as ever, you can find us and follow us on social media.
The The Air Ambulance Service, which covers Surrey and Sussex, is taking part in a pioneering trial, delivering a type of blood transfusion normally only used in war zones.
The technique, known as whole blood, will be given to patients suffering from catastrophic bleeding. Currently, they'd be given separated blood divided into cells and plasma.
Yes, it means the air ambulance will effectively become a flying intensive care unit. Kit Bradshaw has been to see the team in action at their base at the Red Hill Aerodrome in Surrey.
Sunrise and the start of a new shift for this life-saving service that never sleeps. But it's not long before the daily aircraft inspections are interrupted by a noise which means someone, somewhere, is in urgent need of help.
Hello.
Reports that a car has overturned and crashed into deep water. The location means a doctor and paramedic are sent in a rapid response car first. This service responded to more than 3,200 call-outs across Kent, Surrey and Sussex last year, their busiest on record. And the number of missions has been going up steadily for the past 5 years.
Blood pressure is 132/56.
Despite that increasing demand, the level of critical care the crews can deliver, both at the scene and in the air, is constantly evolving. This full-size mock-up of the helicopter cabin used to practice complex procedures. And from later this month, they'll be able to offer a new cutting-edge type of blood transfusion, drawing on lessons learned in battlefield medicine.
So we know that transfusing blood product, and that's blood and plasma, we think is beneficial to those patients that are bleeding. But what we don't know is, instead of giving these blood components individually and separately, actually whether just giving whole blood with all of those components in one together might be better. And we're going to be comparing one against the other as part of a national collaboration across several air ambulances. It's really exciting.
How are these new innovations in care impacting your budget?
So obviously, to deliver more care, to reach more patients, it costs more money. To develop new technologies costs more money, so that drives up costs. And the costs have been driven up in what is a challenging environment, but our duty is to do all the best we can for the communities that we serve. We want to reach more patients, we want to save more lives. We rely on the support that we get from the general public. We can't save lives without that support.
The rapid response car has returned to base. Thankfully, everyone got out of the overturned vehicle before the crew arrived.
We cover such a wide area that we can go to the beach, we go to cliffs, we go to motorways, we go to roads. So there's a huge variety of different environments that we work in, which means it's challenging geography, it's challenging terrain, it's challenging for our pilots to find somewhere to land us as close to the patient as they can get.
The sound of another call coming in. This time the helicopter is chosen to get the specialist team on scene within minutes. An emergency service needed more than ever before, and one that's committed to raising standards of care for the most seriously ill patients. Kit Bradshaw, ITV News, Red Hill Aerodrome.
Now, the ITV Evening News continues with the national and international news at 6:30. With the details for us tonight, here's Lucrezia Millarini.
After weeks, an international manhunt comes to an end. The father of 10-year-old Sarah Sharif, found dead in her Surrey home, will arrive in the UK tonight, along with 2 other family members. We'll have the very latest. Also, a city in ruin. More than 5,000 now confirmed dead after floods in Libya. Thousands more are displaced as aid struggles to reach those in need. Uncovering the illegal fake pharmacies that pose a deadly risk. And the bumps in the road slowing down the repair of England's potholes. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Baggage carousel workers at Heathrow are to go on strike over the autumn half-term. The Unite union says 170 workers will walk out between the 6th and the 9th of October, and then again from the 20th to the 30th. The union says it's in response to the latest pay offer. Heathrow says it's drawing up contingency plans if the strikes do go ahead.
The Hexagon Theatre in Reading will continue operating as normal despite potentially unsafe concrete being found in the building. Reading Borough Council says rack panels were used to build the Hexagon and that some precautionary measures are in place backstage, but it says they will have minimal impact on the theatre.
In sport, Reading have been docked another 3 points after their owner failed to deposit enough money into a club account. Dai Yong had been told the club would be punished if he didn't put the cash into the account to pay the monthly wage bill. The Royals have now been docked 4 points this season and dropped to 21st in the table.
Now, this year marks 70 years since the start of the crossing patrol service. Its long history means many of us will have likely crossed a road safely thanks to a lollipop man or woman.
Yes, patrol officers, as they're now known, have had a rather bumpy time during those 7 decades, but parents in Brighton say they're still well loved, as Raheem Rashid has been finding out.
Good morning. Hello, hello, hello. Lollipop men and women have been protecting school children for 70 years now, safely guiding them to and from the school gates since 1953. Simon has held the protective pillar of his community in Brighton for 4 years.
It's twofold. Obviously, I'm issuing a service, so keeping children and parents safe across the road, but also just the social interaction and the community spirit. But obviously, this road safety is the most important part of it, and seeing they get to school safely.
Hey, hello, girls. Morning, morning, morning. And with more traffic on the roads near St Luke's Primary, parents say the service has never been more vital.
They keep us safe, we keep children safe every single day when we come to school. Not only that, our lollipop man is very cheery, very happy, so it's a great start to the day.
Gets kids obviously safely across the road, but it's just happy really. Simon is anyway.
We must all cross the road with the lollipop lady, lollipop lady.
Despite the name change to school crossing patrols, the role has stayed largely the same over the years. The uniform is similar, now appearing brighter and more reflective. Officers still have to deal with unruly drivers, and concerns about job security have stood the test of time.
How did you feel when you learned that you'd be getting the sack in April?
Hard to describe really. I don't really feel that they've got the right to do it.
Figures show those historic issues remain a present-day problem. Since 2009, the number of lollipop men and women has fallen from around 7,000 to an estimated 5,000 in more recent years, a loss of just under a third of all school crossing patrols.
Hi, Thea. Thea, all right?
But for those left, protecting families as they walk into school has never been more important.
Thank you. See you later.
You know, since the 50s, things have changed. We have, often cameras outside of schools, zebra crossings, street markings, really good signage. Do we need lollipop ladies still?
I think we do. I mean, I don't have a zebra crossing and I don't really have a camera here, but I think they're very important to teach children how to cross the road properly. It can be a little bit dangerous.
The government has thanked those like Miss Hill for their service and says it's given nearly 10% more cash to councils in the last year, which could be spent on securing school crossing patrols.
Come on, young gentlemen, you may cross.
So while it's been a bumpy journey for our crossing patrol officers over the last 70 years, it seems more likely than not we'll be seeing officers like Miss Hill on our streets for many more years to come. Raheem Rashid, ITV News.
Oh, I remember them well. I have to say, it was always a lollipop lady in my day.
Was it?
It was, yes.
Things have changed.
Well, to other local heroes now. And all this week, we're featuring the inspiring stories of ordinary people who are doing extraordinary things for good causes.
Yes, those who are on our shortlist for the Pride of Britain Regional Fundraiser of the Year award are doing amazing work for charity. Many have overcome adversity in their own lives.
Tonight, a breast cancer survivor from Thatcham in Berkshire who recruited her very own band of calendar girls to raise money for a good cause. Christine Alsford has more.
When Karen de Monte persuaded dozens of women affected by cancer to join her and strip off for a charity calendar, she was aiming to raise £10,000. Since then, she's donated nearly 3 times that amount to Newbury Cancer Care. The project that began her fundraising journey helped her through some dark days following her own breast cancer diagnosis.
I was at the top of a very slippery slope and I needed to find a focus to try to keep my mind channeled. Before I knew it, I had over 50 volunteers and it's gone from there.
There's now a second calendar, which this time includes the men. And over the past 2 years, she's run fundraising appeals, collections and much more.
Each one of these I managed to fill means more money.
Each event and financial milestone charted through the support group she launched, called Hope, Strength and Courage.
Woo! We've done it! £25,000.
She is a total inspiration to us all, I think. It just seems she's 24/7. We'll do one event to raise money. She'll then say, oh, I've got another idea, and you think, oh, that's good. What can we do to help?
Much of the money Karen raises goes towards funding a special end-of-life unit for families called the Rainbow Rooms. It's a place that means a lot to her.
My father was a patient in the Rainbow Rooms and he spent his last week of life there. I decided then that I wanted to find a way to give back to them. That want became more of a need after I had my own cancer diagnosis. It's not all that bad. It's just hair, isn't it?
But Karen's contribution is about so much more than her fundraising total. Having undergone treatment herself, she knows exactly what to put in the gift bag she puts together to help patients through chemotherapy.
Face mask?
Yeah, face mask and some tissues, please.
She also runs a weekly coffee morning with Newbury Cancer Care, where people can relax, share activities and find comfort and a listening ear.
What about over here? How are we doing over here?
To come somewhere like this and be able to just be completely honest with people who've been through the same thing and get that support is really important. She's such a beautiful soul and she has no clue just how wonderful she is. She takes people who are feeling quite broken and she lifts them up. Nothing is ever too much trouble for Karen.
Thinking about your family and trying to protect them.
She's raising awareness, she's raising funds and she's giving people something to do and to look forward to. I think she's an absolute star.
Karen herself in no doubt at all about what makes her carry on.
I had my all clear in December 2021, which is amazing, but so many people haven't. I've always got those people in the back of my mind and that's who I do it for, especially my dad.
Another fantastic finalist. They all are, of course. We'll have another one tomorrow. The winner will be revealed on Friday.
Looking forward to it. Now, we tend to think of city centres as built up, full of cars and bustling with people, and indeed they are. But in the heart of Winchester at the City Mill, they've got something to counter that.
Yes, we've sent Pip along to find out what it's all about. And Pip, it doesn't look like you're in the city centre where you are.
It doesn't, does it? But I can assure you I'm very much in the heart of Winchester, but I am at the Island Garden at the City Mill, where the only real sound I can make out is the sound of the River Itchen rushing by. Now, it's an ancient garden, but recently there's been a collaboration between the National Trust and the local agricultural college at Sparsholt to give it something of a future-proof, climate-proof makeover. One man who has been at the heart of all of that is John Wood, head gardener for the National Trust, so who better to tell us a little bit more about it. John, thanks ever so much for being here this evening. So talk to me about this project. How did it come about?
Well, the garden was, it had some very mature trees that had come to the end of their life, and they were casting a lot of shade on the garden, and it was quite uninspiring and dark. So the team thought it was the ideal time to really pump some life into the garden and reinvigorate it. Yeah.
And I know you only recently finished planting it, but it's already thriving. Can you talk me through some of the plants we've got here and the reasons why they've been planted in this particular garden?
Yeah, sure. So there's some really nice big foliage plants here. So there's things like bananas, there's a hedychium here with lovely foliage. And you create this lovely, well, almost like an oasis effect in the middle of the city.
And I know these dahlias are well used to some hot temperatures, aren't they? Tell me a bit more about those.
Yeah, so obviously we're always thinking about climate change, and things like dahlias are from Mexico, and they really add a pop of colour and fit into this tropical feel of the garden.
Yeah, and it really does feel very tropical. And I think the best thing about it is that it's been a real community effort from start to finish, hasn't it?
Yeah, right from the start, really. I mean, I was a student at Spa Shop many years ago, and we've worked closely with them before, and we just thought this would be the ideal project, really, to get them involved. And we've been sponsored by local member centres and community projects, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's really wonderful, as you say, a total community project. And the best bit is, if you fancy paying a visit to this island garden at the City Mill, it's all free of charge. So you just have to pay for your cake and tea, I guess. Well, the good news is this garden is very much cut out for anything the weather and the upcoming climate has to throw at it. But for us, how's the weather looking over the next few days? Let's take a look at the full forecast and get all of those details.
Whatever the weather, it always feels like home. Valent Heat Pumps and Boilers sponsor ITV Meridian Weather.
Well, the weather has certainly been pretty quiet out here today, and more of the same through the next couple of days, staying dry, some bright or sunny spells, and in that sunshine continuing to feel warm. But as we head into the weekend, there are signs of a change, with something a little more unsettled coming our way. And this is why. So high pressure has been in charge across south and southeastern parts of the UK for a little while now. You'll notice though, as we head into the weekend, fronts start to make their presence felt across the region, and those will provide a focus for some showery outbreaks, perhaps on the off chance some longer spells of rain. But not so out there at the moment. It remains dry through this evening, cloud gradually dispersing through the course of the night, and with largely clear skies overhead, there's a chance that in some rural spots temperatures could dip down into single figures by dawn, so perhaps around 8 or 9 Celsius in a few spots. Tomorrow morning then, a fresher start than we've been used to of late. Lots of lovely sunshine from the word go though. And as we head into the afternoon, little change for most of us. A little bit of patchy fair weather cloud building to the south, perhaps a little more cloud just nudging into the likes of Oxfordshire. But for all of us dry and in the best of the sunshine, feeling pleasantly warm compared to recent days' highs of 22, perhaps locally 23 degrees. These are the times of high water then, just the one there for Brighton at around midday. And then beyond that, well, overnight into Friday, really more of the same. A good deal of dry and bright weather taking us into the end of the working week. But you will notice some fronts out towards the northwest. Those will come our way for the weekend. So certainly something a little more changeable heading our way.
Valent Heat Pumps and Boilers sponsor ITV Meridian Weather.
We'll make the most of the next few days, I think. In just a moment, the ITV Evening News with Lucrezia Millarini.
Yes, Sangeeta's back with a late update just after 10:30 tonight. But that is it from us for now. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.